year 2015 ushered in two remarkable transition eras for Nigeria. For one, the year witnessed the historic election of President Muhammadu Buhari in March and the subsequent inauguration of the government in May. Also, the global community adopted the 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development and the Sustainable Development Goals (SDGs) in September with a mandate to eradicate poverty, reduce inequalities, and protect the environment from degradation. The development agenda was a successor framework to the Millennium Development Goals, which enjoyed the endorsement and commitment of world leaders between year 2000 and 2015. The two transition moments ignited heightened expectations from Nigerians, particularly in the delivery on the presidential mandate of the administration, as well as the attainment of the global goals. Incidentally, the goals and targets of the SDGs were also the key pillars upon which the Buhari administration strategically anchored its development agenda. Indeed, as one of the leaders who signed up for the adoption of the global agenda, President Muhammadu Buhari repeatedly declared his unflinching commitment to the attainment of the 17 goals and 169 targets. The global agenda seeks to end poverty, ensure zero hunger, promote good health and well-being, deliver access to quality education, and ensure gender equality. The agenda also seeks to provide clean water and sanitation, affordable and clean energy, decent work and economic growth, promote industry, innovation and infrastructural development, as well as help reduce inequality. Also contained in the agenda are provision of sustainable cities and communities, responsible consumption and production, intensified efforts in climate action, preservation of life below water and life on land, promotion of peace, justice, and strong institutions, while encouraging strategic partnership in attaining the goals. For President Muhammadu Buhari, the attainment of the goals is synonymous to giving meaningful development to the citizenry. He believes that when a government is able to deliver on the goals, the whole essence of governance will have been met. In apparent demonstration of her commitment, the Buhari administration, on assumption of office, outlined three specific areas of immediate intervention. These were security, anti-corruption, and the economic development, in addition to carefully defining a clear pathway towards the attainment of the goals. Beyond the very robust institutional arrangement for implementation, Nigeria is driving the SDGs with innovations, as evident with the recent launch of smart classrooms in collaboration with global digital giant NetDragon Websoft. Nigeria has also put in place mechanisms for identifying and targeting the poor with pro-poor and pro-development programs undertaken in the quest to bequeath to the people a desired future in which no one is left behind. Pro-poor and pro-development programs have also been undertaken by the government, which include an ambitious social investment scheme targeted at the extremely poor and vulnerable, homegrown school feeding program for public school children, government enterprise and empowerment program for unemployed youth and women economic empowerment and power program for job creation for the youths, as well as women's economic empowerment scheme. In addition, the government has prioritized economic diversification, industrialization, energy, agriculture, food, security, as well as a stable and inclusive macroeconomic environment in the National Economic Recovery and Growth Plan 2017 to 2020. The plan is designed to manage the economic transition from contracted GDP to the path of inclusive growth, sustainable development, and a more assured trajectory of universal prosperity. Realizing that no meaningful development can be achieved in an atmosphere devoid of peace, as was particularly evident in the northeastern part of the country, where a terrorist group openly challenged the sovereignty and continued existence of the state, killing, maiming, and abducting, causing the displacement of the largest number of our citizens in recent history. The government, in line with Goal 16, which advocates peace, justice, and strong institutions, inspired renewed confidence in the military and immediately began to put the insurgents on the back foot. This was followed with the restoration of broken down relations with the neighboring countries, Chad, Cameroon, and Niger, without whom the war against terror would have been extremely difficult to win. The government reorganized and equipped the armed forces and inspired them to heroic feats. The government also revitalized the regional multinational joint task force by providing the required funding and leadership. Schools, hospitals, and businesses are springing back to life across the northeast, especially in Borno State, the epicenter of the crisis. Farmers are returning to the farms from which they fled in the wake of Boko Haram. The people are getting a chance to begin the urgent task of rebuilding their lives. Across the country, in the Niger Delta, and in parts of the North Central region, the government strategically engaged with local communities to understand their grievances and to create solutions that respond to these grievances adequately and enduringly. President Buhari's new vision for the Niger Delta is a comprehensive peace, security, and development plan designed to ensure that the people benefit fully from the wealth of the region. And it is a product of deep and extensive consultations, which has now moved from idea to execution. Also included in that new vision is the long overdue environmental cleanup of the Niger Delta, beginning with Ogoni land, which was launched in 2016. In the fight against corruption, the government has focused on bringing persons accused of corruption to justice. The efficiency unit of the government has also succeeded in plugging leakages amounting to billions of naira, thereby freeing up funds appropriated for critical infrastructure less susceptible to diversion. The government is also institutionalizing safeguards and deterrents. Primarily, the coverage of the Treasury Single Account (TSA) has been expanded, and an extremely successful whistleblower policy was launched. To cushion the pain of the economic downturn and address issues of poverty, the government also began the hard work of laying out a framework for a robust social intervention program, the most ambitious in the history of the country. In a strategic response to the economic recession, the President launched our Economic Recovery and Growth Plan, which built on the foundations laid by the Strategic Implementation Plan of 2016. The plan has set forth a clear vision for the economic development of Nigeria. The government has also put in place reforms to promote the ease of doing business in the country. The impact of our ease of doing business work is gradually being felt by businesses, small and large. Its successful takeoff has allowed us to follow up with the MSME clinics, our small business support program, which has taken us so far to Aba, Sokoto, Jos, Katsina, and we expect to be in all other states in due course. Much of the past 3 years has been spent on putting the building blocks together and laying a solid foundation for the kind of future that the people deserve as citizens of Nigeria. For most Nigerians, a tremendous progress has been made as promised. For example, the Buhari administration's social investment program, which kicked off at the end of 2016, is the largest and most ambitious social investment program in Nigeria's history. The sum of 500 billion naira was provided for it in both the 2016 and 2017 budgets, with a total of about 250 billion naira spent so far in both cycles. The program has 4 components, namely Empower Job Scheme, Homegrown School Feeding Program, Conditional Cash Transfer, Government Enterprise, and Empowerment Program GEEP, which comprises market money, farmer money, and trader money. In all these schemes, monies are paid directly to the beneficiaries. The Homegrown School Feeding Program is currently feeding more than 9,200,000 primary school children in 49,837 public schools across the country, with over 6,800,000 eggs consumed daily. The program aims to deliver school feeding to young children with a specific focus on increasing school enrollment while reducing the incidence of malnutrition, especially among the poor and those ordinarily unable to eat a meal a day. It is also targeted at empowering community women as cooks and supporting small farmers that help to stimulate economic growth. At the moment, about 26 states are participating in Homegrown School Feeding Program, with about 96,972 cooks so far engaged to prepare the meals. Over 100,000 small-scale farmers are also engaged to supply locally sourced ingredients for meals. So far, over 66 billion naira have been paid out to the participating states. The Empower program has engaged about 500,000 young Nigerian graduates in every local government of Nigeria. The scheme is the largest post-tertiary employment program in Africa, comprising Empower beneficiaries that are paid monthly stipend of 30,000 naira and are deployed as volunteers into various sectors of need in the public space, such as health, agriculture, education, and public finance. The Empower is a job employment and empowerment scheme for hitherto unemployed Nigerian graduates under the Buhari administration's National Social Investment Programs, NSIP. To ensure continuous learning as they grow, all Empower beneficiaries were given the opportunity to select and own electronic devices or tablets depending on the selected vocations or entrepreneurship, and to boost the knowledge economy. A web-based application was used to select candidates and so provided a level playing ground for all applicants with no room for favoritism. Based on conservative projections, the Empower scheme will provide jobs for at least 10 million Nigerians by 2023. Similarly, Microcredit Scheme, otherwise known as Government Enterprise and Empowerment Program (GEEP), was also initiated and has impacted over 1 million artisans, traders, and market men and women across all 36 states and the FCT. The scheme, through the market money, farmer money, and trader money, has given about 26.4 billion naira in interest-free loans ranging from 10,000 naira to 350,000 naira disbursed to more than 1 million targeted beneficiaries. On the GEEP scheme, about 56% of the loans have gone to women. The farmer money loans start at 300,000 naira and are for farmers in farming clusters via farm aggregators. The BVN is required for farm money. The loans are disbursed through the farmer's bank account, but the aggregator regulates the use of funds to ensure inputs, fertilizers, and farming best practices are provided. The market money is a short tenor interest-free credit of between 50,000 naira and 300,000 naira for small businesses, which include medium-scale traders, market women, artisans, and youth in market associations under the auspices of their cooperative societies. The cooperative societies help to ensure that these sums are returned. There are currently close to 500,000 small businesses that have accessed that loan. Already, under the market money scheme, 349,000 new bank accounts have been opened. For trader money, a total of 2 million petty traders were targeted to get 10,000 interest-free loans by December 2018. Trader money is a microcredit loan for the bottom of the pyramid trader and is designed to help petty traders expand their trade through the provision of collateral-free loans of 10,000 naira. The loans are repayable over a period of 6 months. Under the scheme, beneficiaries can get access to a higher facility ranging from 15,000 naira to 50,000 naira when they repay 10,000 naira within the stipulated time period. The microcredit scheme was first formally launched on August 7 in 5 markets in Lagos State: Mushin, Ikotu, Agege, Ketu, and Abule Egba areas. Since then, trader money has been formally launched in 10 states, including Lagos, Kano, Abia, Akwa Ibom, Katsina, Osun, Kogi, Oyo, Cross River, Bauchi, and Abuja, Federal Capital Territory. The government is using trader money to take financial inclusion down to the grassroots, the bottom of the ladder, considering the contribution of petty traders to economic development. In the same vein, the conditional cash transfers has also been touching the lives of the most vulnerable and is expected to eventually reach 1 million of the poorest and most vulnerable households. Through the conditional cash transfer, almost 300,000 Nigerians now receive 5,000 naira monthly. The program is currently implemented in 26 states and Borno IDPs. A total of 297,973 beneficiaries in 19 states and Borno IDPs have received payment from inception to date. A total of 2,530 cash transfer facilitators have been trained and 3,763 groups and cooperatives have been formed. The states currently receiving payments for the implementation of the CCT include Adamawa, Anambra, Bauchi, Benue, Borno, Cross River, Ekiti, Gombe, Jigawa, Kaduna, Kano, Katsina, Kogi, Kwara, Nasarawa, Niger, Osun, Oyo, Plateau, and Taraba states. The conditional cash transfer provides targeted monthly base cash transfer of 5,000 naira to the poorest and most vulnerable households in the country with the sole aim of graduating them out of absolute poverty. To ensure that beneficiaries establish a sustainable means of livelihood before graduating out of the program, they are continuously supported, mentored, and coached to form saving groups by trained transfer facilitators in every ward who visit them weekly to provide capacity building on life skills and basic financial knowledge, as well as nutrition, hygiene, livelihood, and sanitation information. Another area that has enjoyed massive attention from the government is infrastructural development. This is in line with SDGs Goal 9 and 11. Several road and power projects are ongoing, with quite a number also completed in every part of the country. In rail, the government has also been making huge progress with concerted efforts to upgrade the existing 3,500-kilometer narrow gauge network. Construction work on the Lagos-Ibadan leg of the standard gauge network has been flagged off. while work on the first phase of Abuja's mass transit rail system is close to completion. Particularly, there are 4 main projects that have been focused on since 2015, for which approval has been given to progress on their implementation. These include Lagos-Kano Railway Project, Lagos-Calabar Railway Project, Warri-Ajaokuta-Itakpe-Abuja Railway Project, concession of the Nigerian narrow gauge rail lines. 31 years after the inception of Itakpe-Ajaokuta-Alaja-Warri Rail Line Project, which is a vital economic corridor of this country, the present administration is poised to drive this project to a successful completion. The Federal Executive Council on August 16, 2017 approved the contract for the construction of 12 station buildings and permanent way track works in Agbo Facility Yard to Messrs. CCECC Nigeria Limited for 12 railway stations, rehabilitation of Itakpe-Ajaokuta section, and laying of 179-kilometer track works at railway ancillary facilities, Agbo. One cardinal ministry through which the government has been given development to the people is the Federal Ministry of Power, Works and Housing. The ministry has as its core mandate generation, distribution, and transmission of power nationwide, road transport, highways, construction and rehabilitation, highways planning and design, monitoring and maintenance of federal roads and bridges nationwide, provision of infrastructure and affordable housing, as well as survey and mapping of the nation's internal and international boundaries, habitat and affordable housing for Nigerians. In line with the mandate of the ministry, the government has also carried out over 248 road projects across the country where work had stopped due to lack of budgetary provision and funding before May 2015. The projects have been revived and now employ 47,689 people. Rehabilitation works was also carried out on Abuja-Kaduna Road. The ministry has also completed the implementation of 4 key projects approved by the Federal Executive Council. These include 2 projects in power sector and 2 in the works and housing sector. The 4 completed projects to programs are construction of 260 MVA, 132/133 kVA substation in Ayobo and Odugunya, 2 132 kV line base extension at Ikeja West base extension at a revised total cost of 3.5 billion naira. Approval was also given for additional works on contract for the construction of 260 MVA and 132/133 kV substation at Kudenda in Kaduna State. The commitment of the government to the development of critical infrastructure was also demonstrated in the commissioning of the new terminal at Nnamdi Azikiwe International Airport, Abuja. The effort is seen as another step taken by the federal government towards developing the country into the regional hub of air transportation in a bid to assuming its leadership in the aviation subsector in Africa. The Nnamdi Azikiwe International Airport Terminal is the first airport terminal to be connected to rail transport system in the country and indeed in the region, providing airport users with choice in the mode of transport to and fro the city center. President Muhammadu Buhari had also earlier commissioned the new terminal at Port Harcourt International Airport, Omagua River State. This development is part of the infrastructure renewal program, which will see to the construction of 4 new international terminals at Abuja, Lagos, Port Harcourt, and Kano airports by the federal government, with a view to modernizing the aging airport infrastructure to meet global aviation standards and improved service delivery in tandem with best international practices. It is a consensus that government was gradually closing the infrastructural deficit bedeviling our nation. In an unprecedented bilateral cooperation with the government of Morocco, the government kick-started the Presidential Fertilizer Initiative. The initiative has resulted in the revitalization of 11 blending plants across the country, the creation of 50,000 direct and indirect jobs so far, and in the production of 300,000 metric tons of NPK fertilizer, which is being sold to farmers at prices significantly lower than what they paid last year. By the end of 2017, that fertilizer initiative will have led to foreign exchange savings of $200 million and subsidy savings of 60 billion naira. The Anchor Borrowers Program has made available 82 billion naira in funding to 350,000 farmers of rice, wheat, maize, cotton, cassava, poultry, soybeans, and groundnut, who have cultivated about 400,000 hectares of land. The initiative is building on the solid gains of the Anchor Borrowers Program, launched in 2015 to support rice and wheat farmers. As part of our move towards guaranteeing food security for Nigeria, since 2015, import of rice have dropped by 90%, while domestic production has almost tripled. The government aims to produce enough rice to meet local demand by the end of 2019.